I'm Dr. Soania Mathur. I'm a family physician and also a person living with Parkinson's disease for now almost 22 years, having been diagnosed at the age of 28. There are two things that I feel are sort of misconstrued, mostly by the public, but still even in the research community. The first is that this is an old person's disease, a disease that only happens as someone ages. Whereas, I mean, I'm a prime example, this happens to young people as well. The other thing is that people often believe that this is just a motor condition, and they're not aware of how much the non-motor symptoms affect patients' quality of life. Because until there's a cure, it's really all about patients' quality of life. So this misperception of it being an older onset disease as well as a motor disease primarily are two things that I feel are still misconstrued by a lot of people. I think that digital technology can play a huge role in this. Right now, the way I feel was not the way I felt 2 hours ago when I woke up and couldn't get out of bed. It's not going to be the same as I feel 2 hours from now when you know, my medications start to wear off and the dyskinesia settle, but my dystonia comes back. So the variability in patient symptoms is so massively different from on a day-to-day basis and hour-to-hour basis that if you don't have something that can objectively measure it at all times, you're really not getting the true picture of how a disease affects a patient's quality of life. So I think that's very important, and I think digital technology can play a big role in that. I think also we'll have to figure out then how to deal with all that data, because there'll be a massive amount of data generated. But I think we'll have a much better idea of what a patient's life really is like with Parkinson's disease as opposed to the snapshots that we get right now. This disease doesn't know any boundaries, doesn't know any geographical boundaries or boundaries of age or gender or race, and neither should the research. We don't want a duplication in terms of time and energy and resources that are spent on research. If we can sort of collaborate and help each other work towards those better treatments and a cure, that would be the ultimate in what's good for the patient community. I mean, time is something we as a patient community don't have. We don't have time to waste. We don't have time to see the same studies being done over and over again to prove the same outcome. We want to be better. We want to be back to our productive selves in terms of caring for our family and our communities and contributing. If you're in this research space to help patients with Parkinson's disease, then that really can be accelerated by collaboration, by sharing your data, by allowing other minds to sort of peruse what you've done and to maybe come up with another way of looking at things, or to combine it with their own observations in order to accelerate that development. And if you're in it to help the Parkinson's community, then we have to find ways to collaborate, and we have to find ways to share that data, because that's really the way that we can accelerate this whole process. When people used to ask me before what's going on in the field of research and when are we going to get that cure, I used to say, oh, they're working on it. But I didn't really recognize that I'm and my fellow patients are part of that. They're working on it. Without our involvement in terms of education for others about clinical trials or the Parkinson's cause, or our involvement with research in some way, shape, or form, those clinical trials can't take place. They can't move forward. We can't get closer to that better treatment or a cure without patient involvement. The first thing I would say is thank you. Thank you for devoting your lives, your clinical research to helping our community to achieve better treatments, to improve our quality of life. And I know that you're working tirelessly to do that and deserve a great debt of gratitude. The other thing I would say is that we can do this. I think with involvement from the patient community, supporting the research community, supporting the clinical community, that we can really do this, but we have to work together with that unity, with that collaboration. we can do this.